Good morning and welcome to episode 16 of Knitting and Grieving, my little podcast where we take grief and fiber arts and they intersect. My name is Mira and you are on the Dead Knitter Society YouTube channel. If you enjoy my content, please do hit like, hit subscribe. You can click the little bell thingy and find out when I post again, which I think I like this little thing. We'll see if Memorial Day next week screws up my Monday record and Monday sometime post. So this week I have made, we'll talk about what I've been knitting. I have made some really good progress on my Tanager tank, and we talked last week about how I had started leaving my progress keeper in one place for the week, and I like this because this is gratifying. I want to say that this is probably about, there are going to be jokes about measurement here, but I think this is about 4 inches. So should we find out if I'm measuring a fish or something else, or if I'm actually accurate? Let's see, hang on just a second. Ta-da! Okay, because I think I'm at about 6 inches for the body. I want this to be, the pattern I think calls for 10. I feel like that'll ride up over my cute, adorable little belly. So I think I want to knit it a little bit longer. But let's see. I totally manned this. It was 3 1/4 inches of progress, but I'll still take it. That's pretty damn good. So I'm going to move my progress keeper to its new starting place. So if I'm knitting like 3-ish inches last week was pretty busy. If I'm knitting 3-ish inches, I should have this done by mid-June, I think at the latest. Although there are a couple things coming down the pipeline that might slow me down just a skosh. So when I put these in, I put them in the stitch below and I do the whole stitch. I don't go through the leg of the stitch. I go just around the whole stitch, and that way it doesn't get distorted or weird. So that's Tanager. We loving it. That is my February sock squad subscription from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. That is the Bighorn sock. It's a merino nylon blend. I have some big thoughts, y'all, and I may just gloss over it today because I kind of want to do like a whole separate video on this that is like not a podcast episode. Cardigan, again, made some good progress. I finished all of the shaping decreases for this sleeve. So now I have about another inch or so to knit, and then I will start doing the 2-color garter stitch to finish this sleeve. And here we can do a little show on just so you can see where it's at. So the pattern calls for it to go just to the elbow, so I think I have about an inch to knit. But now this is just the pattern stitch, which while it looks so complicated, it's actually pretty easy to memorize once you're just going round and round and round. So that, I'm not entirely sure what the new release date is. It's sometime in June, and I should probably put a message into our group that kind of is like, when in June though? Because there's a big difference there. I've made 0 progress on the rats. I don't know if this is particular just to the Neuro Spicy or if it is more of a like pervasive issue, but I am fairly convinced that actually just sitting down to sew on those ears and legs will take me less than an hour. It seems so daunting. Same thing with darning my socks. It's a small hole. It will probably take me less than 30 minutes. In fact, I might try to do it after I'm done doing some documentation and stuff, because I kind of want to wear those socks today, because then I'd be wearing something knitted today, which we'll check into our knitting journal. I am so amused by how ambitious I get for the week, this was last week, and what I actually really do. Oh my God. And again, this is really ambitious for this week. It's ridiculous. But here we are. You know, a girl can hope. I think I need to prioritize a little bit more what I want to do this week. And then I switched and I flipped like the frogging, those 2 cardigans that I showed you last week. That's going to be in June sometime. So I can start to make my like, hey, this month I'd like to think about doing, and then I can transfer it to the days. But you'll see that I've really been wearing some knits pretty frequently, even though last week it was gorgeous here. It was close to, I mean, it's upper 70s. My ranunculus was really very breathable and comfortable. I was happy about that. I don't knit fast enough to make a lot of like tanks and tees that quickly. Okay, mom knitting news with an idea. So I need both things. This is gonna crinkle. Okay. I also subscribe to FDF's Beanie Brigade. How cute is that little dude? This is the May, and it is, this is actually the Spinster's Daughter. So it's Spin Cycle, I think Spin Cycle spins it, and then FDF dyes it. I think that's how that works. I love this color. I think this color is like, you can kind of, people do this, but I think that's for their cameras. You can really kind of see how like tonal and beautiful this is. So I looked at the pattern that came with it this month, and it's fine. It's a very pretty pattern, but I'm not that excited about knitting it. So then I was thinking, because the pattern was like, make sure that you swatch. And there was part of me that was like, a hat is a swatch, God damn it. And if it doesn't fit your head, it'll fit somebody else's head. So then I pulled out more of mom's knitting, and I found this cardigan that mom had made for Bella with, again, her impeccably cute little like Beatrix Potter little button here. But this has, and I don't know how well you can see it, this has this really subtle stitch pattern to it. And I think that this is just pearls. I actually really need like a magnifier or something so that I can really look and see what this was. But it's pearls with these, you know, ridges made by Purl Stitch in the stockinette. I looked through some of my encyclopedias of stitch patterns, and I couldn't find anything exactly like this, but I found something close. Or I'm not sure if she was I don't think that these are decreases. I think that she was just putting a purl stitch in there to create that diamond shape. So what I was thinking is casting on a number of stitches that would fit my head in, you know, do like a small section of ribbing, and then start this patterning. And I think that for the crown decreases, I can probably use the peak to make the decreases happen and look cute. Maybe, we'll find out. I want to try that this month. I think that's going to be, because again, the idea of just knitting a square swatch is kind of, it's just a little boring. I know. So I think this could be a fun way to like try to see if I can decipher one of mom's patterns. Speaking of mom, I am acknowledging that like in a week we'll be at the 11-month mark. I found a piece of writing that I had posted to my Facebook like probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 years ago. I think it was after my grandfather died. And I reread it this morning, and I actually wanted to share it today. Because it's sitting differently with me now, and I'm very curious what your reactions are to this and how you feel about it. Maybe being at a certain point in a grief journey is might impact how you feel about this piece of writing. I do want to put out there that however you feel about it is the right way for you to feel about it. Our feelings are no judgment zones. We get to change our thoughts, and our behaviors do not need to be associated with our feelings, but our feelings are what they are. So I just want to create that space for everyone to feel however they do about this piece. But here we go. And shoot, I forget who it's attributed to, but I will put that in the show notes. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can do this without crying. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. I'm not going to be able to. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used to. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just round the corner. All is well. So I used to really love that. And there is part of me that still really loves that and finds a great deal of comfort in the idea that Mom is always near, because she is. Like, she's always in my thoughts. I'll tell you, I stopped in unexpectedly at my brother's house on his birthday on Friday, and his 3-year-old daughter was being read to by her other grandma, getting ready for bed. And I popped in and she said, "See ya!" And she had a ballet recital the next day, and she just, out of nothing, after I asked her, "Are you excited for dancing tomorrow?" She said, "Yes." Was Grandma born? Oh, children. I said, yes, Grandma was born, and then she died, and now she lives in our hearts. And so this piece really gives me that feeling that she now resides within me, and that her death does not lessen or change that I am her daughter. I'll always be her daughter. But at the same time, the kind of like easy way that the absence is talked about, I still am so rocked by her absence that I'm not sure I'm yet at this place where it can be that easy. She's just in the next room. Or she's just within. So please share your thoughts with me if you feel so inclined. I would love to know how you feel about this. I will put, see if I can, I don't want to get into any copyright issues, but I will make sure that I at least credit the piece in the show notes. Okay, and the other question I'm going to ask, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do this regardless of feedback, but a friend and I were talking about experiences with local yarn stores going pretty bougie, and particularly with Joann's closing. There are certain kind of entry-level brands of yarn that get you into the realm of, this is a really nice yarn. This is a very nice yarn. But you can still knit a garment for like under $70, depending on what size you are. And I will say that like this price differential is starting to become very keen to me because I'm living in the biggest body that I've ever lived in, and I am at that point where I really do need that extra skein now, and it adds up. It adds up, particularly over some larger garments. And I just keep coming back to my mother telling me stories of the reason that she learned to knit was that they were pulling the wool ticking out of their mattresses to hand spin it to repair their garments. And I'm a little bit like, how did we go from needing to know and using whatever materials were available to really kind of, some stores really are only carrying some of these much, much higher end yarns. And so I have a lot of tangents and like off ramps to take about this. Lots of nuance. There's so much nuance in this. So don't come at me right now, because I really do want to do a fuller, long form video kind of going into some of those nuances. And why they're kind of, I feel there should be a place for, you know, mid-brow yarn in our local stores that we can still support. Because I don't want to be having to, I don't want the only place that I can find that yarn to be, you know, the evil empire of Amazon, which it feels like it's starting to get that way. So anyway, that's going to come down the pipeline. I'm hoping that this weekend I will have time to record that, and probably will need to do some editing. So I think I showed you everything I have to show you for this week. I think I'm going to get brave and try to actually darn those socks that I can wear them today. I'll keep you updated for next week. I always appreciate so much that you spend a little bit of your day with me. Thank you so much. Oh, I should have led with this one. We hit 50 subscribers here. So thank you all for subscribing. I think that that's really exciting. I have zero desire to really like deal with the comments that come with some larger followings and more views because sometimes people aren't kind. But I love all of your very kind comments, and I'm so grateful for you. So with that, I hope you have a most wonderful week. Please go forward with love in your heart, and I will see you next time.